Now, I'm dreaming of a budget Christmas. According to the British Retail Consortium, consumers are planning to spend less this Christmas as the cost of living crisis and so-called shrinkflation continues to bite. And this is despite a concerted effort by retailers to push Black Friday deals to boost flailing retail spending. Well, here with more is GBNews business and economics editor Liam Halligan with On the Money. Liam, hardly surprising that at a time when people normally splurge, they're tightening the belt this year.
So we are spending more in the run-up to Christmas, but the increase in Christmas spending in November was a lot less than the increase last year. So the cost of living squeeze is very much still with us. Let's have a look at some of the numbers, and GB News radio listeners can keep their ears open, as it were. So retail sales, these are numbers from the British Retail Consortium. Retail sales were up 2.7% in November compared to November 2022. But they were up in November 2022, 4.2% compared to November 2021. So a much bigger increase last year. Having said that, Martin, the latest official numbers show that inflation did fall from 6.7% to 4.6% in October, and there's a growing sense that the Bank of England isn't going to raise interest rates anymore. So hopefully consumers are starting to feel a bit more cheery, a bit more spring in their step. But if they are, they're leaving their Christmas shopping late this year.
And something that really gets my goat is shrinkflation. I notice it all the time. You're paying more dosh for the same, or you're getting less for the same dosh. And you've got loads of figures here. It's happening all over the place. Chocolates, biscuits, cheese, festives, blight.
One really famous example of this is penguin biscuits. You know, pick up a penguin, as they used to say on the advert. And a packet of 8 penguins last year, you now get a packet of 7 for the same money. That's called shrinkflation. Yeah. They can't shrink things like a pint of milk, because a pint of milk is a pint of milk. That's why we sell things in pints. That's why we have pounds and ounces, in order to try and stop this. People have been putting, you know, the thumb on the scale, as it were, for generations of trading since mankind started markets. But what's happening now is really insidious, because lots of things are getting a lot smaller for the same money. Let's have a look at some of the numbers here. So a survey out from Barclays says that 60% of us now, 60% of shoppers, have heard of the term shrinkflation and are noticing shrinkflation when they buy things. It's things like Quality Street, Roses, Cadbury's Heroes, Celebrations. They're all smaller than they were. And these are the kind of things that we buy, of course, in the run-up to Christmas. But it's not just chocolates, it's biscuits, it's cheese, it's mince pies. Shrinkflation's impacting lots and lots of festive delicacies. And Barclays say that shoppers are likely to spend £105 more on Christmas this year for the same stuff because of shrinkflation. So this really is a big deal now.
Do you notice this? And the thing I noticed, right, is bars of fruit and nut. Bars of fruit and nut, you used to have to take a hammer to them to break them if they've been in the fridge. Now they just snap like a wafer. Same size, but the depth totally gone to pot.
Because they're much, much thinner. You know, a Yorkie bar used to be really chunky. You know, you used to barely get it in your pocket of your shorts when you were a kid, but now they're much, much smaller, aren't they? And this really does get on consumers' goat, the idea that retailers, manufacturers are trying to trick us in some way. And, you know, you might buy a product and it might look this big, but then when you take the wrapping off, it's actually sort of this big, no pun intended. The use of wrapping in order to try and disguise the fact that things are shrinking. Of course, retailers, they can say, oh, headline prices are the same, or our inflation is a lot less than our competitors, but you've always got to actually look at what you're getting for your money. So fingers crossed that consumers are going to be a bit more cheery in December than they were in November.
There is one piece of good news, although it might not be for the rest of the people in the room later on, shall we say. Brussels sprouts are 4.3% cheaper than 1 year ago, according to Kantar, the analyst. So I guess that's just price cutting to try and get you through the front door of the supermarket, right?
That's right. And also, I don't know about you, when I was a kid, I hated Brussels sprouts. There's something about them that, as you get older, you quite like them.
I love them now. Yeah, I totally do, With bacon.
But don't force your kids to eat sprouts, otherwise that will delay the time when they actually do start eating them. Go on, just try one, go on.
Super, Liam Halligan, thank you for that, as ever. Great stuff.